Hey there guys, welcome back to the Botanic Jungle. In today's video I'm going to be attempting to propagate some of this white lavender that I purchased a while ago. It's been growing, I've noticed it's just going to flower now, but before it goes to flower I really want to get some cuttings off, put them in the substrate and put them on a heat mat to see if I can propagate more of this lavender so I can have it all around the property in all the garden beds, rather than just having it in the single pot. So typically lavender I find is quite a it attracts a lot of bees, and in the area that I'm in I've noticed there's been a big boom of bee activity and flower growth, purely because we're going into spring, so that is the time that the flowers all decide, hey, it's time to wake up. So I like bees and I like promoting the bees being around my area. So what better way than to grow or propagate some lavender? And it smells nice too, so you can dry it and put it in bunches in, say, a wardrobe, to also help keep away some pests as well. It's a good fly repellent. It's good for an aromatherapy purpose. It's great for calming and relaxation. So I would like to have a lot of the lavender around the property so I can use it for some of the different methods. So let's get started. What I'm going to be doing is I have this, years ago I was growing a lot of seedlings for our family farm. So what I've done is I've got this 10 tray sectioned out tray. It's made for the rectangle trays that you find at your local like nursery and box store. But I've used it. I've put cocoa peat in there because I know it's quite a water retentive mixture. And I've just sprayed it down a little bit just to sort of stop all that dust and debris. I've also got my spray bottle here. In that spray bottle is Growth Technologies, Root Zone, and CCS. So both of those are root developing formulas and nutrients. So it's a mixture of nutrients that promote root growth, and the CCS is actually made from a product that they call Clonex, which is a rooting gel. So the CCS is a water-soluble version of the rooting gel. So I am going to be using that to promote the root growth of these plants. Hopefully in about 3 to 4 weeks, I will have some flourishing cuttings, and I'll be able to bring you guys back and do a planting video of me planting out these lavender cuttings into more of a permanent home. Alright, so let's get started. What we're going to do is, so you can see as well, the lavender is dying off underneath, purely because it's putting all of its energy into this top section of the plant, but the bottom section is not full already. So the purpose for me cutting this back is also to help promote that root, that foliage growth at the base of the plant. So what we're going to do when we start, we're going to go from the tip, go down about 5 to 7 centimeters, and cut that stem. So make sure with your cutting utensils, you sterilize them first, because you want to make sure you're giving this plant the best opportunity to grow. By not sterilizing, you are potentially going to expose that plant to a number of different methods of bacterial growth. Yeah, so we're going to get our cutting. As you can see here, it's between 5 and 7, maybe actually about 10 centimeters. We're going to just get our fingers, lightly press and pull on that cutting to strip that cutting of any leaves above, probably about 3 or 4 centimeters. Then what we're going to do, we're going to get our tray and we're just going to press that down into our tray. Don't worry if they fall over to start with, because what we're going to do in the end is we will press that down and condense that all down. So let me get a few cuttings off this, and yeah. I'm also trying to make sure that I'm not taking cuttings of sections that are about to produce a flower. Because although, yes, I want to produce more of the plant, I also want to allow it to flower a little bit. So by just leaving some by leaving some of the sections that have flowers, I'm also allowing it to photosynthesize. While you're doing this too, you also want to make sure you're cutting between nodes. So nodes are the sections of the plant between the leaves. Oh no, sorry, the nodes are the section of the plant where the leaves are actually coming out of. The section between is called internodal spacing, and that's where you want to be taking your cuttings from. The reason for that is the nodes are areas where you're going to get root growth. They're areas that are the plant actually grows to allow it to throw roots out. So there's another one. As you can see, not too long, not too short. Just poke it in and get your next one. I think quite a few of these cuttings are actually a little bit too long. So I might have to reduce them a little bit. I'm just noticing that as I'm poking them into the soil, they're becoming quite top heavy, and they're falling over. Which, as I said before, falling over is fine, but ideally you don't want to be promoting that falling over of the plant. Alright, so I'm going to put 6 in each thing, each section of the tray. Space them out a little bit better. The reason for that, I'm just allowing for optimal root growth. So as you can see, there's 6 in that section. I'm going to do, I might just do this side with the lavender, and then I might actually do, I don't have anything else. I might just leave the other side blank. All right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to fast forward through that, and I'll be back with you guys in just a minute. All right, see you in a sec. Just remembered, just quickly. So the good thing about using the cocoa peat is it doesn't have all of the extra like chunky sections of plant for you to fight with. So by using the cocoa peat, you're allowing that moisture retentive environment, while also allowing an area where the roots aren't going to have to fight to get through the medium. They're not going to have to sort of be going that way and then hit like a piece of bark or a thick piece of like soil or dirt or something like that. And so yeah. Alright guys, I'm down to, sorry, my last 6. So I was just thinking as well while I was doing this cutting and while we were sort of flashing through, make sure when you're doing any of these cuttings, if the lavender that you're propagating is patented, so often farmers or producers of certain plants will put a patent on the plant. That's purely because they don't want other people producing their product. So make sure when you're doing this and you're planning to propagate, you're checking for those sorts of things, because if you don't, you're leaving yourself open to legal action if you try and sell these or sort of give them away for short profit or like use them for personal gain essentially. So I've done that. I've made my my 5 trays with 6. So essentially what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spray all of these. I'm going to make sure that soil in the base is wet, not just moist, not just a little bit damp. I'm going to make sure it's absolutely saturated, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this in a what I call my hot box. The reason for that is because in my hot boxes I have a heat mat, and I also put them under LED light bars for 12 to 14 hours a day. So the heat allows the plant to not put so much energy into trying to stay warm, and it allows it to put more energy into actually growing roots, really. So I'm going to do that. I don't have my hot box with me right now. I actually need to put it back together. What I do, I just use a simple storage tote from Bunnings, and I put a heat mat in the bottom, and this tray here is actually a 10 form tray sitting in a solid based. Oh, there's a little bit of soil in there at the moment, but it's a solid tray. So I do that because when I water, I generally will bottom water. So I'll lift the tray up, put the water in the bottom, and let the cocoa peat pull the water up rather than me soaking it from the top down. Right now I'm doing that purely because I don't want these plants to go through stress. Although they're going to. Stress is inevitable when you're propagating. But you want to provide those things to reduce the amount of stress caused to the plant. Now I'm just going to spray my main plant. I did notice as I was cutting too that there were a few aphids, so I'll give it a couple of days because the humidity will kill them as well. Yeah, because they don't like a really warm, hot condition. They like humidity and they like warmth, but they don't like an abundance of humidity. Where I'm trying to produce roots, aphids just don't like that. So what I'll also do now that I've seen this is an outdoor plant. Now that I've actually seen that this plant actually has aphids on it, I'll go through, I'll spray it with the rest of this just to give it that little bit of extra nutrient to help it. And probably tomorrow or the next day, after this nutrient's dry and the plant's had some time to pull it in, I will then come back and spray it with Eco Neem, which you can buy from really anywhere that's that stocks pest management products. I buy mine at Bunnings. I think for my little bottle, something about that big, I think I paid about $15. Like, it wasn't overly expensive, and it essentially it's made with neem oil, which it dries out the aphids. So yeah, as you can see, that's now dripping, and we have our little seedlings here. So yeah, I will follow me. Don't forget, follow me on Instagram to stay up to date with instantaneous updates to do with the lavender or any other videos that I do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment of your favorite plant that attracts bees, and I will look at all of your comments and reply. Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe and keep growing. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.